We're still a neighborhood that's learning to trust each other. As we are learning to trust each other, there is this growing sense of community. There's a sense of we belong to each other and we're responsible for each other. We have to take care of each other.
I live here in the community, 5 houses away from FaithWorks, 6 buildings away from the school, and I have 2 children that are between the ages of 8 and 5. The first tornado that we were here for, we ended up doing what people that don't know what to do, get up in your car and just travel away from it, and we ended up 3 hours and a half away from home.
So there was a need in the community for storm shelters. Most of the homes in our neighborhood are owned by landlords who are not going to put a storm shelter in, and we looked at it as a really practical way to show our neighbors that we love them and that God loves them, that He's our shelter. We now have 13 shelters. We have 12 in-ground shelters and 1 above-ground shelter that is for our elderly.
You know, it's every parent's nightmare to say, I'm in the mall right now shopping, or I'm paying bills and there's a tornado coming towards my child's school. I no longer worry that my child doesn't have that shelter.
Having that safeguard does provide a sense of security for our neighborhood.
My brother came and told me there's a tornado. I wasn't scared because I had somewhere safe to go.
And it's been a way that I've seen our community come together. You see gang members taking their coats off and holding it over a little old lady's head as she's walking to the storm shelter.
We came a couple of times and used them. We started to see how things ran. We didn't say too much. We kind of just watched and learned.
We were approached by some of our neighbors with concerns that they had about how the storm shelters were being used, how people were parking too close to them, and they asked if they could host a meeting for their community at our facility and to develop rules on their own, and of course we welcomed that.
They let us run the meeting. They let us see what were issues that we were worried about. We discussed how many people should be in shelters and maybe being smart and using the shelters towards the back and start filling those up first. So, I mean, we were talking about the issues, but also trying to come up with solutions and parent involvement in getting that solution.
The people in our neighborhood are some of the most resourceful people I've ever met. For so long, they've been told, this is how you do things. This is the way it should be done. This is the right way to do it.
They don't give us rules. They let us as parents and as people in the community make up our own rules. If there's an issue, they ask, do you know of a solution maybe we could use? We, as a group, decided that when we do have to use the shelters, for any reason, on the day after, we should have some parent volunteers come and say, let's clean out the shelters, and that's the way we can show respect and thanks.
It was a really exciting meeting to be at, to see that forgotten community come together and raise a voice.
The meetings that I've been at, they are empowering. It invites the community to have a sense of ownership and responsibility that comes with ownership in the use of that or utilization of that resource.
I honestly think that meeting that we had about the shelters here at FaithWorks really opened parents up to want to come and be involved. And then they see that, hey, we do make a difference if we all work together.
Y si todos nos uniéramos a hacer cosas positivas para nuestros hijos, fuera diferente. Bueno, si toda la comunidad nos uniéramos.
So we see this kind of trickle-down effect, I guess, of we start with one thing, but then it has this effect on neighbors, and neighbors start to invest and treat their neighbors differently, and the neighborhood really starts to look different.
Pues me siento segura de caminar de mi casa a mi trabajo con mis hijos. Antes no, antes me daba miedo. Ahora me siento como ya parte de la comunidad. Me siento en confianza.
We don't want to move out of this neighborhood. We are looking to buy here in the exact same neighborhood that FaithWorks and Shidler School are at, because we feel safe.
I think it's important for us to realize that each of us are a player in a bigger picture. FaithWorks is a very small part of what's happening in our neighborhood. We're a nonprofit, and we have the school. We have the city. We have a beautiful park in our neighborhood that our neighbors can be proud of. There's all of these moving pieces, and it's important to realize that everybody is a part of this transformation that's taking place.